Hello to Dr. Dyker's class. I'm Dr. Samuel J. I am in the Department of Communication Studies here at Metro. Initially, I was going to come to your class today, April 1st, and talk about effective presentations and help you out a little bit with your presentations and your poster presentations that you have coming up as part of your capstone next month there in May. Obviously, because of the current situation with the coronavirus, that is not possible. So I wanted to take a few minutes here and just kind of cover some tips and some tricks for you to help you give the most effective presentation when you do your capstone project. I have your evaluation form available that Dr. Dyker sent me. I have a general idea of what the assignment is, but I do want to let you know you can reach out to me at any time if you need some additional help. My email is just sjay@msu-denver. In addition, we have a presentation lab in our department that we have moved totally online because of the COVID-19 shutdown. So if you actually go to our website, you can find information about how to book that. But I'll tell you it's a little bit easier if you go to, actually, let me make sure it's still up and running here. If you find our Facebook page, so if you go to Facebook and you look for MSU Denver Communication Studies, you will come to our Communication Studies at MSU Denver page. Again, that's Communication Studies at MSU Denver, but if you search MSU Denver Communication Studies, we'll pop up there too. There's a Book Now button on our page. You can click that. That will actually take you to our bookings page and allow you to book a time to sit down with me or one of our professors to talk about everything from how to outline your presentation. We can talk about practicing it. We can help you kind of clarify some of the content, some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. Any of that stuff, we'll sit down with you virtually. We can do Zoom, Teams, phone call, what have you, for 30 minutes to an hour, whatever help you need. We can watch you practice. We can help you with your slides. We can help you with your poster if you need that. We're going to have a lot of folks that are available over the next 4 weeks. So feel free to take advantage of the presentation lab. And again, you can find that if you just go to our Facebook page. That's just the easiest way to kind of hunt it down. Communication Studies at MSU Denver, and you'll see the little Book Now button, and you'll be able to book a time to meet and kind of sit down with one of our faculty members. Okay, so first I want to just talk about, I wrote up 6 tips here to go over, to discuss, that I think can really help you prepare for your presentation. If you have any questions, again, let me know. It would have been perfect if we would have done this in person because that's how I tend to operate best, and kind of feeding off students and those who are in the audience, but alas, can't do it. So number 1, be interesting. I understand what your topics are going to be about. I understand you're going to cover nutrition or something in the nutrition field. So, but you need to be interesting. You need to convey kind of interesting. You need to be able to convey that interest and that energy and that passion about what your project is to your audience, whether that's in a one-on-one conversation or whether that's you up on a stage talking to a bunch of people. So, be interesting. Know what you're talking about. Have a general passion for it, a genuine care for it, and be invested in it. 2, make eye contact. That is extremely important. Eye contact is how you engage with your audience. You want to be able to kind of have that emotional connection that we get with our visual connections with people. So make that eye contact. If you're nervous about eye contact, there's a little bit of a trick you can do, which is pick a point or several points at the back of the room and just look at those as opposed to looking at the actual eyes of your audience members. I know that sounds a little crazy, but nobody's going to know if you're looking at the back of the room at a light switch or something instead of looking somebody directly in the eye. Sorry, my wife and kids are upstairs trying to homeschool, so it's a little bit of a mess here. If you can't tell, I usually dress up in more than a t-shirt and a ball cap, but alas, that is the situation we're in. 3, project confidence. So in the same way that I talked about being interesting, really try to work on projecting that confidence as well. Know what you're talking about. That gives the sense to your audience that you know what you're talking about. That's very important. How do you do that? Practice. Practice. Know the content of that 3-minute pitch. I believe that's what it is. 3-minute pitch. Know it inside and out. Practice in and out and in and out and in and out over and over and over again. That's extremely important because if you know what you're talking about, you're not going to lose your spot. And if you do lose your spot, you're not going to worry about it because you're going to be able to jump right back in. So know your stuff. through practice and practice and practice. Those are ways that you can kind of show that confidence, build that confidence, and really prepare you to give that presentation. Number 4, know your audience. Don't assume your audience is going to know everything that you think they're going to know. Okay, again, don't assume your audience knows everything that you think that they're going to know. I understand the context of this project, but you also kind of need to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but you need to reach the lowest common denominator, right? Or the largest common denominator, excuse me, and talk in a way that's most accessible to most people. So know your audience in that way. Who are they? What do they want to know? In terms of your project and your topic and your thesis, what do they need to know? What would they be interested in? These kinds of things. Always think about your audience as you're preparing that presentation. It's extremely important to know your audience. Know your audience, know your audience, know your audience, and plug that into your speech preparation. 5. All right. Now, the clear components of a good kind of presentation. I know that you have to cover specific things, but I want to go over these 5 kind of components, general components that can be applied to any speech that make it better. Okay, so component number 1 is your attention getter. You want to immediately, the first thing that comes out of your mouth ought to be something that grabs your audience's attention. Maybe it's one particular sentence, one really interesting fact, one conclusion that you drew that's really, really fascinating, that captivates them and gets them to listen. Did you know that 75% of people eat food that does not jive with their GI tract? Something like that, right? I just made that up, but interesting. Okay, now I want to listen to more. Okay, so number 1, attention getter. Number 2, state your thesis statement or your summary, right? Keep that relatively concise, but that needs to be something that's in your speech. And to me, if it's at the beginning, I'm going to be more and more willing to listen, right? I found that 75% of our tests, 75% of our subjects were actually eating foods that did not jive with their GI tract. I'm going to talk to you now about how I got there. All right, so now I'm engaged. I want to listen. All of that. All right, you have that kind of thesis statement, that summary, that overview, that takeaway. Why does it matter? Okay, that's extremely important in your pitch or in your presentation. Why does it matter? Why does this matter? 75% of people are eating things that they shouldn't. Why does that matter? It's because 75% of us just are not feeling well when we can be feeling well. I want to talk to you now about what that means and how we got there and all of that. So again, why does it matter to your audience? You have to tell them why it matters, why it's significant to them. Then, because of the brevity of this, because it has to be so short, only include the must-have information. I know that Dr. Diker has a list of things that you need to include. Look at that list and make sure you only include the information that you have to include. The goal here, right, is to leave them wanting more. You want them to read and to talk to you more. I understand that you have to kind of give a 30,000-foot overview, a quick presentation about what your findings are. But the goal of that 5-minute pitch or that 3-minute pitch, again, I can't remember what it is to just compel those people to come and talk to you, to listen to you. That is what you want. You want to grab their attention, you want to grab their interest, and you want them to come to you or to read your paper and have your findings. All right? And again, I'm going to say it again, 6th component, which is just a duplication of the first, be interesting. You have to be interesting. People want to hear somebody who's interesting. All right, so I'm looking at the evaluation form that Dr. Diker sent me. Presenter, we're looking for you to sound rehearsed and confident. Go back to what I said, practice, practice, practice. Know what you're talking about. Know your speech inside and out. Know what the clear goal of the central research question is. That goes back to stating that kind of summary or that thesis statement. Make sure that your audience knows exactly what the research goals or the outcomes were of your particular project. The speaker made the connection to the field of nutrition. That's the significance, right? I talked about why does it matter. Make sure you tell your audience why it matters. Make sure that the content is clear, that it's easy to understand, that you're speaking clearly and all of these things. That comes with practice. Because with practice becomes better projection. So make sure that it's organized, that it's logical, that it's easy to follow. This isn't very long, but still you want to make sure that you move from point 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 in a very clear manner. Make sure you have that takeaway. Make sure you have that clear takeaway message. Wow, 75% of people are eating what they shouldn't be eating. Excuse me. All right, so, in addition to all of that stuff, I'm looking at some of these things that are going to be, you're going to be reviewed upon. I mean, the major takeaway that I have for you to kind of keep this brief is to practice, to make sure that you only have the information that you need, and to be interesting. All of the stuff that you want, all of the takeaways, all the deliverables that you're going to be able to produce for your audience are going to come if you can meet those things. So again, if you have questions, send me an email, sjay@msudenver.edu. Go to our Facebook page, Communication Studies at MSU Denver, if you want to book a time to meet with one of our professors, and go over this and prepare for the event in May. I hope that was helpful. Hope everybody stays safe and is well. And again, reach out if you need anything. Have a wonderful afternoon.